Welcome back, I'm Titan9. This is the second video on my blue-green beta battle weekend winning deck list. It's pure aggro, there's no breach package in it, it's just about getting underneath. My first video was on sort of the philosophy and design decisions behind the deck, but a lot of advice I would be giving when I was answering people in person or on the Discords. I would also caution about hands, like it'd be easy to pilot this deck incorrectly and feel like it's bad. So I wanted to have a video also about kind of what hands to look at. Webcamming was a little tough for me to coordinate the weeks leading up to the event. My schedule's a bit hectic and all over the place. So I have been using Wingtable to do some testing, largely to look at opening hands. I think it's very good for that. I know some people don't like the AI. For the last week before the tournament became a Patreon subscriber to them, they have an improved AI for that, and you can also control the AI's play style. It still isn't perfect, but I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. It's not the best, but it's very convenient. I could sneak in 10 minutes for a game or two to practice here and there throughout the day for the weeks leading up to the tournament, so I found it to be very helpful. You know, ideally, they can keep improving the AI, but I know it's sort of like an individual's passion project for this and the other games that they do on Felt Table. They ultimately only have so many resources available to them, but I think it's a perfectly fine client and proved to be very helpful in my testing. But again, I was doing it to make sure I knew what every card did, how they interacted with each other. To, again, look at the opening hands that we're going to do now. This video doesn't look the nicest. They're all kind of grayed out here. And this big mulligan game setup thing, I can't really move out of the way, but I'm going to sort of hopefully describe it well enough to you. But this is not a bad opening hand. Whether we're on the play or the draw, we have, or I guess turn 1, turn 2 in non-magic parlance. We have a turn 1 play. On turn 2, we could just opt to play 1 unit. A lot of times I like to play 2, but I acknowledge there, depending on what my opponent's playing, having this 1 damage could prove to be helpful. So I'll often wait and see. If I'm going second, I get more looks to see what they're doing, to know if I'd rather play this. We also might draw something that we could play too. I do have a lot of 1-cost things that can be played on turn 2. So we might have some options here. If I was going up against a green opponent, I might opt for the Magwanac to take out their base, or to trade with one of their bigger things if they have a big, if they're putting out a lot of 1/2s or 1/1s like the balls. And if against a blue-white opponent, sometimes they won't even have a turn 2 play, so then it would be nice to have the 3. You can chip away on turn 2 with him, and then finish it off with there, and then you have 2 guys attacking shields after that. You could also opt to play this on turn 2, but then you only get to take out 1 shield after that, though you could play a nice 3-level thing to drop these. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's do a mulligan just to see a new hand really quick. Here I'm a little nervous because I only have this one to play. And I guess I have a curve here, but it's a bit of a slower curve. I have 2 expensive units that I can't even play right away. So I don't love it. I don't think I would keep it if it were my opening hand regardless of the opponent. But in this mulligan hand, it might be okay against another aggro deck. Yeah, I'm not even certain about that. Like, I guess this at some point will help these get through, but I really would love to just flood the board. So I'm basically going turn 1 here, turn 2 here, hope to draw a 1-cost unit somewhere along the line to play this person on turn 3, and then at least I do have my 5 units on the board should these 2 have survived. I don't have a lot of confidence in this hand, just because we're getting clogged here. And even when I get to turn 4, I can only play 1 of them, and I have to hope to have a 1-cost unit to pair with it, or perhaps a pilot, so I can rush right away, or give all my other units +1. This is what I was talking about in the deck discussion video, where having that other Gundam here would be helpful, having more of those, because then I could play that with another 2-drop unit like this, or whatever else I drew, and that at least would pair well. But as I said, I do have many 1-cost things, so it's not unlikely that I have it. It's just not something I would rather risk, especially in a best-of-1 game. So now here, another hand I don't love, just because we have 2 pilots and a thing, 3 cards we can't play until turn 4. And none of these units can break a shield super easily by themselves. I do get to go turn 1, or if I was on the draw, if I was going second, I probably would play them both on turn 1. I don't always feel the need to do that, depending on how the rest of my hand looks, but here my hand's really slow, and I just would want to take out that shield as quickly as possible, and then hope that eventually I can get at their shields afterwards without too much difficulty. But if I'm going second, they probably have a unit on turn 2 that they can attack one of these with, and that's already slowing me down. I do have a lot of draws to get me out of this. If this were your second mulligan hand, there is some hope. Plus, you know you're going to be able to play this guy on turn 4 and go in for a pretty good attack, buff all of your dudes by 1 AP. Something to keep in mind, if they do happen to play one of their own bases, you know on turn 4 you could take that down if you're having a bit of a board stall because of the slower hand. It just invites your opponents to get to enact their game plans, and their game plans are stronger. So that's why I wouldn't recommend this hand. This hand I like. Obviously I don't love seeing this here, but you can play this offensively. I have done it before. We don't have to, based on the context of the rest of our hand at the moment, but it can be done. This one obviously is not fun to see right away, but isn't the end of the world because it's only one of them. Everything else we can play really early. I'd probably play this on turn 1, just so I can go after the base. Depending on what I drew for those first 2 turns, I might also, just on the first turn, I might also play the ball unit. I wouldn't want to play this. I don't like playing this naked. I like to try to get value out of this when I can. I don't specifically hold it to do it, but because I do have another play, I don't mind holding this in my hand. The extra toughness can be nice, but they're not playing Darabald right away anyway. They have their own gun tank. Like, I wouldn't attack with this into a shield by itself if it wasn't going to destroy that base, but I would attack a shield if it were a shield here after this cleared the base. And even if they kill it off with a gun tank, that's not the end of the world. It took out a shield. It did its job. And hopefully I draw something else to play on turn 2, so I don't have to play the gun tank. I can play that on turn 3 with another 2-drop. But if I draw another 1-drop, I just play 2 of them. And now I've got 4 units on turn 2. Pretty great. And otherwise, I'll just have that and have 3 units on turn 2, plus an extra card, hoping to have a really explosive turn 3. So this, a good hand. Despite 2 cards that feel like bricks in the opening hand, again, don't be afraid to play this offensively. You're usually not in a shield race against your opponents, and you get a unit for it for free. And even if they take it out somehow, oftentimes they've traded a unit, and that can be helpful for you too. Another great hand, I probably would play, I don't think I would actually play both of these on turn 1, as crazy as that sounds, if I were going second. I definitely would play this one. Take out that base right away. And even though I wouldn't have a turn 1 play on turn 1 if I went first, then on my turn 2, I would just play both of these, so that'd be good. Then on turn 2, I would play this one. Then on turn 3, I hope to have a second 2-cost thing, because I'd like to save this for, turn 4 or 5, especially since I can rush it. But if I didn't, I wouldn't mind playing this out early. There are 3 others in the deck, and if I needed to get past a blocker, I can just hold this back until that turn is necessary. And then right there, I've got 4 units on turn 3. That's not a bad place to be. I've likely destroyed their base. And even if they play another base, one of their shields is down just from that. Plus the Razel and any other attacker can take them out pretty easily. And if they want to trade with my guys or keep attacking them instead of my base, that just gives me more time to draw more units, to overpower them. And on turns 4 and 5, I'm going to be able to play 2, maybe 3 cards at the same time. Another pretty good hand, obviously a turn 1 play here. I love a turn 1 play. Against an aggro opponent, you won't always attack on turn 2 with your Zaku against your shield. It depends on what they play. You get in kind of like an awkward standoff, and you got to figure out pretty quickly who is the beatdown, which is sort of an old Magic philosophy. It doesn't matter what deck you're playing. In some points of the game, you might be the beatdown deck, and in some games, you might be the control deck. So in the aggro mirror match, you have to know, am I winning the race here? Do I need to take out his units? Ideally, we don't have to play the control role, because they can do that a bit better because they have the breach units. But I have, in my testing, played against a lot in the control role, particularly if I'm going first, or if they're just have a lower curve than I end up having. You generally can sort of outrace them because, as I said, we just have more units. We are likely finding more units. We have more linking pairs available to us as well. They do not. So just keep that in mind in the aggro mirror. Try to figure out, am I the control player or not? Usually the easiest way to tell is who has more units. That will usually be the person who goes second, but it can be the person who goes first just because if they have the turn 1 play. So keep that in mind. So you don't want to make losing trades here. You're probably not going to be able to kill a lot of his. He's not going to attack a ball into this. You're either going to lose him or you're going to bounce off another Zaku 1 or a gun tank maybe. And they wouldn't make that attack either. So you don't feel like you have to try to race them. Just don't be afraid to take out units. And you got to kind of go by ears, but I would probably do this and then play this on turn 2 because I'd want to save this. They are going to have 1-cost things, or they are going to want to trade off with my Zaku. Not trade off, but kill my Zaku, and I would have dealt 1 damage, and then this can pick off the other thing. On turn 3, I have this to play, and then I would also play this, hopefully. And right there, you've got 4 units, though probably less because they've probably killed this, maybe this too. But if they've done that, they probably don't have as many units anyway. They might have 2, they might even have 1. And this pilot will come in handy whenever we need to rush, but we're going to draw a card on the first turn anyway, and we're going to have some turns before we even have to worry about this being a dead card in hand. A good hand. Not a good hand. I bet you know why. We've got both of these guys. Even if one of them or both of them with a vanilla Gundam, still not ideal. Turn 4. We do have a turn 1 play. We have a turn 2 play, but it probably is the only card we'll get to play on turn 2. We could find a 1-cost thing. We could find a different turn 2 play that costs 2 to more effectively use our mana, but the other card we have in hand is Char, and we don't really want to use this on any of these units. It's going to take us a while to take out this base, if they happen to be a blue-white opponent. These aren't the best traders in the aggro matchup. We're going to play this turn on the same turn they're playing their Shenlong, which isn't ideal, because they're going to get to kill it. Maybe not even trade if they have Wu Fei on them, and they're going to take out a base or a shield in the process. Not ideal. Just too slow. Too slow of a hand. You want to get the gas. You don't want to find these guys early on. They're good cards. No one's taking that away from them. You obviously want this card at some point. You want these at some point. You don't want them in the first 2-3 turns of the game. You can't even play these on the first 3 turns of the game. You don't want them. Maybe 1 would be okay. Maybe 1 and this would be okay if you had another 1-drop, or if you had a different turn 2 play. That wouldn't be the end of the world. I would mulligan this. I would easily mulligan this hand. All right, and this will be the last hand for the day to keep the video from going too long. I feel like I've given enough examples here to give you some ideas. I do enjoy this hand. It would be really great if this were an Amuro. Actually, I don't think it matters, because we already have the Char Zaku 2 over here. I thought this was another one of these Zakus. If you went first, it would sort of not be great, but you do have awesome follow-ups after that. If you went second, though, you could play both of these on turn 1. Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that. I'd probably play this on turn 1, stop there, hopefully draw another person for turn 2 to pair with this gentleman here, but if I didn't, then I would be happy to use that extra resource to go Char Zaku 2, kill that base, ram this into a shield, and then even if they attacked and killed this on that turn, which I guess would be their turn 3, which I guess is possible if they also had one of these. It's a little less possible if they were the blue-white deck. You're getting another guy in return, and then on your actual turn 3, you can play both of these, even if you drew nothing but bricks, which this deck doesn't have a lot of. So you just have a lot of possibilities here. Any card you draw has the potential to make it better, but if you draw all your expensive cards back-to-back, you have your first 3 turns taken care of, so you can still play stuff on turn 4 if that's all you draw. You don't have to worry about filling in your curve from there. Excellent, excellent, excellent if you're on the draw. If you're on the play, you kind of hope to find something else to play on turn 2 with this gentleman, but if not, it's not the end of the world to only play the one thing, because you have taken out their base, at least on turn 3. No, I guess that doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay. You're player 1. You get to play both of these on turn 2. You just don't get a turn 1 play. Then on turn 3, you play these. Hopefully you save this for a time when they have a blocker. Yeah, turn 1 or turn 2, a good hand. And I have often thought, I've theorized that perhaps against blue-white, you do want to play first. And I know that sounds crazy, but what I found is they're often utilizing their EX resource before their turn 4, which would let them play one of their big blockers. Because I'm getting so far ahead, they don't really want to wait until turn 5, which is their turn 4, I suppose, because then it's too late. And then I hit my turn 5 first. I have 5 resources before they do, and I get to play 2 or 3 things on that turn, and I've just flooded the board. I haven't conclusively proven that yet, but just know if you lose the coin flip, the die roll, against a blue-white opponent, and they put you on the play, or player 1, which will often be the case, just know it isn't the end of the world. For the aggro mirror, I do think it's probably better to go second, just because you can double spell on that first turn, and hopefully you can play 2 units on turn 2, and then you'll have more units overall for probably the rest of the game, and you can be the beatdown role. You don't really want to be the control role, but even if you have to be, at least you have more units so you can make better decisions. You're not forced to make trades that you don't want to. Thank you for listening. If you have further questions, if you have examples perhaps of your own opening hands that you want to know about, and you can tell me about the matchup and give me an idea if your list is very similar to mine or only a little bit, you can find me in the Discord, in the Gundam TCG Discord under Titan 9. You can also leave a comment here on the channel, and I'll do my best to answer them for you this week. For all the Vegas people, I may not look at it as much in other weeks, but I will try. I'm not really a full-time content creator. I'm really doing this just because a lot of people were asking me these types of questions, and I thought this was the easiest way to give very helpful information. Because I want people to enjoy playing the game, so that more people play the game, and it gets to endure for a very, very long time. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned. There's one more video left I'm going to make in the series. We're going to do some actual gameplay, and you'll get to see sort of the deck in action. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.